Hello.
Hello.
My today's guest is Cezar. So please, can you give me a little bit of background information about yourself, where you're coming from, how old are you, and what do you do for a living?
Okay. Yeah, sure. My name is Cezar. I'm from Romania. Uh, I have a background in fine arts, and for a living, I am a 3D artist.
You're a 3D artist.
Yeah.
Was it something that you've been studying for to become, or it was just
Uh, uh, Deep down, I think I always wanted to 3D model, but it wasn't an option early when I was in high school and college.
Yeah.
And I took the concept artist path, but at some point I left that path, and I started to learn alone 3D art because in Romania this industry is not that big.
Okay, you don't have a lot of specialists.
Yeah, and I'm kind of from a small town.
Okay.
Yeah, it was basically the single
You're the
option.
only person that was there was not a lot of 3D
Not really, but
modeling specialists.
not too many people, not too many connections, and I have to kind of struggle alone.
But was it in
for a bit.
demand?
Yes, worldwide it's in demand.
I believe, no, yeah, exactly. The reason I'm asking that, like for representation of anything, any product, any item, any character,
Yes.
any persona, you need to have the ability to create the 3D model of that character for
Yes.
the digital version.
Yes.
So where do you currently implement all your skills? Like what are you in right now? What do you work on right now?
Right now I'm working on a game. I'm doing model range weapons like pistols, rifles, and I also do the clothing part for the characters on the
Like,
more
wow.
organic side of things.
Tell me, please. I've seen one of your works, and I know exactly what you're talking about.
Ah,
I think
okay.
I've seen your character that's in this jacket that has a bit of a dirt on it, mud on it.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Like all the small details to give the to give the impression that he has been climbing. He has been
Yeah,
like he's been yes.
that's also a thing when doing a character in a
Yes.
game. It has to have a background story, so that would be told in the little details, like maybe he's dirty somewhere,
Because of
he has a bruise or something, and the story also it's reflected
It has to match, exactly.
Yes,
It's like
yes.
the whole storyline is based on how the character is, how he looks.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Tell me, please, you said that you are also creating a 3D model for the weapons that are used in the game. Can you tell me, please, what type of a knowledge in case, like I believe, like for example, to create a weapon, you need to have a clear understanding how to do it, how many parts it consists of, how, for example, over a time using this weapon, for example, the handle might be a little bit worn off, or you understand what I mean? Like you have to have like a clear understanding of how this item gets used over the years, how
Yes.
it gets assembled. So
Yes, it's the same thing like with I said before with the characters, but more on the technical part. Yes, I'm not by any means an expert in
No.
real life weapons, but I had to do some
How
documentation.
do you dig deep into that? That's the thing. You look at the images, or you read about it, or you, for example, watch other developed games, how they use it. Like, where do you get this knowledge of a product, of an item that you are
Yes,
modeling?
right. One way is to look at other people, how they did it.
Yeah.
And I at some point I really went to a shooting range.
To understand,
Yeah,
to
to
get the feeling, right?
right to understand more how the weapon function. Yeah.
Because the reason I'm asking that, I find that it's so important, all these details, because it, okay, I'm not a gamer, but I assume as a gamer that has like, a good experience and been gaming for years,
Yeah.
like all these details makes them
Unique.
whether want to
Yeah.
continue playing it or not, because like the emotions they get from it, the all
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
it's so important. So you guys are like, how can I tell you, the creators, like you are responsible for the overall feeling of the
Yeah, the experience
achievement,
of
the
the
experience, exactly,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
That's so
Yeah,
fascinating.
people that usually play video games, they get more invested when they have a lot of skins.
Details.
Yeah,
Yes, yes.
skins, details.
Yeah.
They like the variation.
What's your favorite game?
Uh, Kind of hard to tell. I stopped playing like
You stopped playing.
some months ago, but
You just don't have time anymore with all these projects
yeah,
coming up.
yeah. To put it this way, yeah. I don't know. I'm a big Star Wars fan, and a Star Wars game, let's say, generally, yeah.
Did you have tell me please, did you ever play a game and you were like you found the, how can I tell you, the details in the game so exciting, so
Yes.
inspiring that you were like, how could I not come up with it on my own, or like I wish I was the one who
Yes.
created that?
Yes, exactly. That's what actually made me want to make 3D art. I was inspired by old games that I play early when I was a child.
Yeah.
Mainly Star Wars games,
All right,
like I
okay, yeah,
said.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
And you were so like into it that you wanted to create something
Yes.
similar, or like to come up with something
yeah,
like that.
yeah, pretty much.
That's very cool. That's very cool. Listen, I want to ask you a question. For example, currently people have been divided into two, let's say, groups, right? The first group that is supporting kids playing games and like, spending time over the gadget, discovering, exploring, learning. And the other group of people are like very limited to 1 hour of an iPad time per day, because they're so convinced that it makes kids violent. It makes them very, how can I tell you, it leads to the attention deficit syndrome, or it makes them very distracted, hard to focus in real life, or like they find that it's challenging for them, for kids who are into games, to focus at school and like things like that, because they find it boring, for example. What do you think? How do games affect and like impact people's life overall?
First, I think it depends on what kind of game they are
Yeah.
playing.
Like, do you find that it's a bad thing and kids should not game?
I think at a certain age they shouldn't play violent
Like
games.
a violent games,
Yes,
yeah, all right.
they should play more like educational
Like
games.
logical, like
Yes.
strategic games,
Yes,
correct?
yes. Later on, well, from my point of view, they
But
are free
again,
to play
if
everything.
If we look at the action games, for example,
Yeah.
right? I mean, not action games, but the games that are more like into these weapons and all these things, right? I mean, in some cases, I feel like, it's one of the ways to release stress. Again, not
Yes.
necessarily by thing, but like in general, like, because it's so active, it's so time consuming, you have to be so
Yeah.
focused that it makes you somehow forget about the bad experience that you had during that day, or like get distracted from the bad thoughts that might pop into your
you're
head,
right.
right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But it hasn't to reach that point to be like a drug. I don't know.
Yeah,
People,
yeah. Also, that's another case.
Yes, people usually overplay a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
And I say this because I also did it at
You
some
have
point.
that
Yeah.
point in life.
But yeah,
But I think they get challenged because what I have, again, what I know is there is a lot of games that are on a very global level, and they have these global competitions that when you take a certain place, you, for example, you earn this much money, you get a prize, you get an award. So maybe that might be one of the reasons why someone is like feeling extremely competitive, because maybe some people think that, oh, I have been gaming, let's say, for 6 years in a row. This is the only thing I know what to do. So why don't I continue, and maybe I might be in top 10 and get like this
Ye-
5
yes,
million or whatever.
video games are really cool and fun, and I really like them because I also played them for a long time. But yes, like you said, there's a certain feeling of achievement by doing this and that, but it's kind of a fake
It's a
achievement.
fake achievement,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. I mean
It's a
everything
virtual
which is in
achievement.
it's doing
Yeah.
it's repeated in excess is bad, I guess. This applies to everything, but
Yeah, not having limits in everything can harm
yeah.
you in at one point. Listen, do you know this story? I'm so into this, by the way, right now. I don't. I might be wrong. Again, please correct me, because as I said, I'm not a gamer myself, but I always follow the news, right? And I remember I read news about this boy. If I'm not mistaken, it's a Mexican boy who lives in U.S. and he's very small. He's like 12 years old or like 11 years old, and he's been like playing Counter-Strike for many years, and he has basically customized a skin for a gun, for some weapon, and eventually he sold it.
Yes.
So, and I remember when they were taking an interview from him, so what he was saying is basically, the whole time while he was playing this game, his parents used to comment on him, used to stop him. Almost they took all the PC and everything. So
Yeah.
they were extremely strict, threatening him that if he doesn't stop, they're gonna send him to the orphanage house and etc.
Okay.
Like there was like quite a Mexican drama behind this whole thing, right? And then at one point, I think the boy, he gave up or something, and he decided to, like close his account and to sell everything. And he sold the skin for the weapon for, I think, $1.3 million. And it was like, it got purchased, like when he placed it for a sale, it got purchased like within like 20 minutes or something. And that's how he got the money. And this is what attracted media, and they started taking the, and guess what? The boy was like, my parents were not really supporting me, and I'm like young enough now to take care of the money, so let it stay there until I grow up. But the point of that, as a 12, 13 years old kid who has been into gaming, I don't think he ever had a thought that, oh, I'm gonna customize a skin for a weapon, and maybe with like next 4 years I'm gonna sell it and become rich. But it's still like, I believe as any commitment would bring a result at the end. Like for me it was so surprising, like what a great way of making money,
Yeah, so his story is actually echoed throughout the world because...
yeah, you read about it, right?
No, this
Okay.
specific one, but...
there is a lot of cases.
Like our parents are not so... they don't understand really well.
They didn't have
it.
it.
And nowadays the technology is progressing so fast, and even we are kind of surprised of what technology can bring to the table in any industry, not only the video games.
Have you ever been asked by someone to train them, to teach them? Do you think you have this passion for teaching people what you already know? For example, teach someone how to do the 3D modeling and stuff.
I kind of never wanted to teach.
It's
but
not something here, like it's.
But I think I can be up to the task.
Yeah, like you can do it because it needs to be done, but you don't have like the passion and patience for teaching.
It depends. Somehow this work involves you spending a lot of time in front of the screen and doing work alone, but in a team, remotely or not. So I don't know.
Do you get inspired a lot by real life events, by the real life situations? Have you ever tried to, for example, implement something? This is interesting question. I want to know, have you ever, for example, let's say, for instance, you have something about yourself, or maybe your favorite item, or maybe you have a cat, dog, and something, and you decided to, implement it and add it to the game. Did you
Of
have
course.
can you share, for example, what was it? And did people know that this is something that belongs to you?
Uh, yeah, so it's like a microcosmos that you build in, like
Yeah.
a story that only you and maybe some close friends of you know that.
Only this circle of people
Yeah,
knows, and when they play, they will recognize this, right?
yeah, right.
Who was it?
Well, I didn't got the chance to actually do it in a production, but I did things like this in my personal projects. Yeah, like I don't know. I I've modeled a car, let's say, and I've put on the license plate.
Plate numbers and
Yeah,
so on.
so a number that would make you think to a specific person or something
I
like that.
find this is something cool because I remember I watched a documentary lately. I don't remember which country it was exactly. If I'm not mistaken, it was Norway, I think. Again, I can be wrong. And it was they were talking about the currency that they used before.
Okay.
Or it was Sweden. I'm not sure. Basically, they had before they went to the unified currencies, they had their own currency, and like in the shape of a flower, in the shape of some nature, a lot of natural elements. And it was showing that the designer of this currency, the artist behind it, when you zoom into the currency a lot, you can see that he hid the name of his wife, of his daughter, and someone in the national
Yeah.
currency. Like, how cool is that?
Yes,
Like,
I
how
totally understand
cool
that.
is
Yeah.
that? Like, you might be gone tomorrow from this world, but can you imagine what type of a footprint on a national level you can
Yes.
actually leave? And I found this I found it very interesting, and I honestly I loved it. That's where the question came,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you're artist, you never know what you might do. You always have a signature.
So actually, I came across of a saying like something like politicians
Yes, yes.
use truth to
To
tell lies.
to tell the lies
And
and lies
artists,
to yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, the reverse to artists. They like to say the
To
truth.
say the
basically.
truth, yes,
Yeah,
correct.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
God.
interesting. Yeah.
Well, that's very nice. Tell me, please, what does a person need to have in order to become a 3D modeling specialist, for example, an expert, in a sense that do you have to be born talented, or it's something that you can acquire and learn over the years?
For me, I think I didn't really consider myself born with something special, but I really wanted it.
You had a passion for
Yeah,
it.
yeah, and like I said before, it doesn't matter that this industry wasn't so big in my country. It doesn't matter how many years would take
To
me
learn.
to
You still
learn.
wanted
I
to.
still did it because I don't see myself doing something else. Yeah.
You really enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah,
You're in
yeah.
a happy place.
Yes, really,
That's
yes.
very nice to hear. All right. Thank you so much for this discussion. And I wish you all the best in your career. And I really can't wait to see all your projects to be released successfully, to be mega popular. And who knows, maybe one day I'll be playing a game that where the characters has been done by you.
Yeah,
Okay.
hopefully,
From
yes.
my side, I want to give you a small compliment from TeachMeCode. It's the welcome kit that we give to our students. As you can see, they don't really need to bring anything with them because we're fully equipped. But as a, to motivate them to start their new journey, we have prepared like some geeky stuff inside the box. So I hope you will enjoy it and you will
That's kind of you.
Yes, thank you so much. And I'm not gonna say bye to you because I'm expecting to have another episode with you once you guys release the game, because I think it's gonna be like mega super interesting. Thank you for your time again.
Thank you. Wishing you the best.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.